So it's this primordial force that's at work that goes before any gods, any angels, any entities. It's a very primordial darkness that's like a womb, personified in different schools of thought to be the womb of Lilith or the womb of Kali. They're referred to as the black mothers of primordial manifestation. Why this is important is now we are back in the pendulum swing of the divine feminine. This is really the reason why a lot of things are overly feminized in appearance. It's more so a divine primordial mother energy, but it goes back even before archetypes are instituted to the oversoul. This is what births oversouls. The oversoul is a collection of beliefs from people on the planet and the gods and entities that influence them over that particular planet and or solar system. But either way, all of those collections of beliefs throughout the entire multiverse soon leads to a very singular thought that makes all of existence and beyond what we can fathom of existence into one big OmniVerse. Inside of this OmniVerse, inside of this womb with an unlimited amount of stars, an unlimited amount of souls, an unlimited amount of dimensions, an unlimited amount of chakras, an unlimited amount of portals, an unlimited amount of wormholes, an unlimited amount of black holes, unlimited dark matter, dark energy, which is the light that is wrapped up in the darkness that our eyes have been trained to avoid. It is there 24/7. When our eyes are closed, that same darkness is there as when our eyes are open. It is a darkness that is right in front of our eyes and is there 24/7, 365, but it is not the devil. It is not Satan. It is not Lucifer. It is not what you would consider evil. It is not God either. It is not what you would consider divine. This is not what Jesus is. It's not what Christ is either. This primordial dark energy, this isness, the state of existence itself, what is animating it all and what is causing it to be, that energy behind what makes it be and what makes it what it is, that is what we're calling the primordial mother. You can't name her because it's beyond a name. It is like the housing for all existence. And what gives that all of that expression is the Christ, is the Logos. And when we say Christ, we're not talking about Jesus. We're talking about Christ, which is very, very different than Jesus. Jesus was here for a particular mission and he had a particular purpose. What makes Jesus important, though, is his understanding of the Christ. When you look at Jesus's life, according to any and all text written about him, he came in the primordial mother energy. He even said it himself that he wanted to take care of the people like a mother hen. He didn't say like a father eagle. He said like a mother hen. And he was very gentle. Look at how people approached him. Yes, his message was very, very certain. And yes, his countenance may have been very, very austere, because anyone who's deep in thought will tend to have a very serious and sometimes somber expression on their face, because those are the faces that we make in these bodies when we're pondering things, when we're stepping either into ourselves or outside of ourselves. We're going to have a face we're still mulling things over. We're not necessarily receiving things in joy, because we're still in the midst of interpreting it and receiving it. So it's going to give us that creasing of the eyebrow, that thinking, that Adonis face, where you see the picture, the sculpture of Adonis. We're in thought when you see that. So that's not always sadness when you see a person frowning. Sometimes they're getting it. They're really learning. So that dark energy, that dark matter, all of that, the primordial mother, the essence. This is so far beyond any idea of an Elohim and all the councils of gods. There are more gods than people, probably, all on divine levels too. And this includes humans. All humans have a God gene in them, and they already made a God. The trick is for them not to know that they are automatic gods. A human being is nothing but a physical 3D expression of God. It's just God with skin and bones and blood and teeth and hair and nails. That's all a human being is. It is a 100% God. It's not it's not God like in an invisible form. No, it's the visible image, because the mind is where the magic and where the manipulation of reality and the going in harmony with reality, with nature, this is where these things find full expression. Is a human body that is the point man. That's the point of contact. But we have to, whether you're a man or a woman, boy or a girl, we have to step into this idea of care, of supreme divine care for self and others. Make no distinction, just care. Now, if you have enemies in your life that you don't care for, still care. Care enough to be distant, care enough to keep your space, care enough to respect their space. Care. This is a divine feminine quality. And the reason why we're seeing upheavals in this quote unquote battle of the sexes is because when you don't understand something spiritual, you'll do all kinds of physical things to try to artificially manufacture it. So you have what you have out here as far as what you see out here. A lot doesn't need to be spoken on, but you can feel subconsciously what I mean. But as an entire collective, this whole oversoul has to step into the female, because the female is what comes next. Both people can't lead the entire dance. The male patriarch has been leading the dance for thousands of years. We have to see the moves that the woman has. We have to see that. But it goes even beyond, again, those archetypes, like I'm telling you. So when we say the mother, we're talking about you have to step into that. It's like a zero inside of a zero. The 0 point reference is not even strong enough, because that's in reference to a cluster of dimensions that share a similar time globe or time graph or time arc, under which all different types of times can be manipulated in and out of reality, which is really to say, long story short, you are always in the world, but your world is always in you too. The world that is in you too extends infinitely. And the world around you is an expression of that infinite extension. So accept the oneness that comes with duality, that comes with it. Take both sides, take both viewpoints, and hold them both as true in the same space, that there is everything and there is nothing. If you can make both of those things true, then you can begin to get a grasp of the personality of the OmniVerse's womb. This invisible, overarching, all-involving, non-judgmental, non-inclusive, non-personal, non-emotionally affected, all the way involved, all the way detached, feminine, motherly essence. Not a mother who is trying to control children like a general. Not a mother who is a doormat for her children to walk all over, but the supreme overarching standard of existence where there is no judgment. You can make what you want. And the fact that you can make what you want is a very tricky statement, because without realizing it, we can be making what someone else wants. This is why it's important to step into yourself and go into your meditations until all becomes gray and very, very staticky. Step into that fourth dimensional plane of pain and begin to bring those higher dimensional energies into it, because 3D is waiting on you. 3D is waiting on you bad. Look at the state of things. Look at the state of the world. Look at the state of the globe. Look at the gas prices. Look at the food prices. Look at what's happening with celebrities. Look at what's happening with regular people. Look at what's happening. We need a mother, a real mother. This is not the time of the woman in terms of for sport suiting to the lover. This is not the time of the wife. This is not even the time of marriage. This is not even the time of the coupling. We're in a time of dynamic, dualistic seclusion where if you go to the King James scriptures where it talks about the men mourning separately from their wives, that's a depiction of society and what happens when a new world is being born, because both sexes, both genders have to define themselves from the highest realms down, which is really, long story short, it starts with a new mindset and a new recreation, and which is really part of the old formatting, the original formatting that always seems new yet never changes because it's flexible yet holding on to the same underlining principle. These things mesh with your life and with your journey, because you're going to have to define now what a man is, and you're going to have to redefine now what a woman is, because they're not the same thing. The coin is now on tails when we've been seeing heads, where the men have been sent out to all of the factories and all of the jobs and all of the businesses, and they had to do all of the speaking, all of the talking, had to host all of the forums, all of the panels, had to lead all of the discussions, all of the debates, had to do all the news broadcasting, all the commentary, had to do all of the journalism, include all of the footnotes. All of that had to be done by men under earlier cycles. Those earlier cycles, that culmination ended legitimately since maybe 2014, 2015. We had switched over to another stack of millennia under the divine feminine energy. Now we're back into the understanding of Venus, who is really like the governor of this cluster of planets, this cluster of solar union. Venus is the creator of beauty and aesthetics and love. An archetype like this is important for the recreation of a new world as it applies to the genders, because a man, again, is going to redefine who he is in the aesthetic. He's going to become more of a masculine caretaker, because it's not unmasculine to beautify. That is not a non-masculine trait. And we're not getting ready, but we're really in the midst of learning that the very, very hard way. We're in the midst of learning that the very, very hard way. We don't have any more John Henrys or Paul Bunyans. That age is over. That was part of like the final traces of an iron age where the torch was being passed. So, and again, of course, there's going to be entities of certain vanities that are going to send this message that whatever a man can do, a woman can do better. Don't think on 3D levels. It has nothing to do with that. This is a dance, a universal cosmic dance that is eternal. One person leads, the other person submits, then they take turns. It's a dance. Both people have to step. He's not just dragging his woman all over the dance floor. She's not just dragging her man by his tie all over the dance floor. This is the time for the woman to step. And it doesn't matter how tall the stiletto heel is. Let her step, please, because it's happening whether you allow it to or not. Look at the babies. Look at what is being redefined as expression with gender. This all allowingness is very motherly. You know, a mother could have a son who's doggone near axe murderer. She's still going to have a sympathetic and possibly empathetic bone in her body for that individual, especially if he's a son. So you have let's go back into the lower demiurges, not really lower, but more so the triune governance over these lower clusters of dimensions, like 1 through 12. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is obviously the woman, because how could the Son come from the Father without the feminine female involvement? You see, we're talking on all levels. Men are not giving birth, not naturally, but if this is not understood, it'll be all over the papers of pregnant men everywhere. What we can do is we can acknowledge that it is there, that we did see this, by big name celebrities. We did see this. We saw it. We saw it even before that. We saw it. We saw it not just in I think it's Lil Nas X. Not just in Lil Nas X. What was that movie with Schwarzenegger back in the day? And I think he had to be pregnant or something like that. And I think that was like in the 80s or 90s. So we were already headed into the divine feminine. But again, if the spiritual principles aren't understood, we'll be looking at these things like monstrosities and not understanding that men don't give birth to physical babies in that way. But men do give birth to societies and civilizations. That's a man's baby. A man births a civilization. A woman births a family. A woman births a family. A man births a civilization. Out of his loins come nations. He's not pushing the baby out like that. Not physically with his physical body. And we're not referencing the act of reproduction when we say this. We're just saying what a person gives birth to if we're looking at things, because the woman ultimately is the only one who can naturally give birth to anything physical on physical. The baby can only naturally come out of her, organically, naturally, the way humans was originally designed. The baby's going to naturally come out of the woman, and the children, the nations, the world, the societies are naturally in the man already, in two organs in his reproductive area. All right. So you have the duality right there. You have dual. According to the natural design of the human male. And from him comes nations. So a man births a civilization. And a woman just 1, 2, 3, or however many babies A&E or Lifetime will show you that a woman could give birth to. But she's not going to give birth to 100 babies in the delivery room in one setting. However, the man, when he sends his civilization through the woman into the woman physically, and they swim, you can just say an unlimited amount. So that's a whole civilization coming forth out of the man and being stored up in the man. So when to go very 3D, when a woman asks a man what's on his mind and he doesn't know what to zero in on, now you understand how much is going on. A woman does not have nations in her in terms of civilizations. She can have nations in terms of personalities that represents the particular children, but it won't be as numerous as the man's assignment. So again, that's just 3D stuff, but this overarching primordial motherliness is making sure that both roles, both genders, both sexes learn the overall lesson. We all know how to do the fatherly thing, to defend, to fight, to be tough, to hunt, to forge our way, to duke it out, to hang in there. We know how to do the warrior stuff. But now, how do we heal the wounded on the battlefield? Do we know how to apply ointments? Do we know how to clean a wound? Do we know how to bandage up somebody's soul when it's been broken? Do we know how to apply the things that'll make anybody from any walk of life feel positive, even if it means they have to face something that is negative? Can you provide a medicine now rather than just a methodology? Can you provide a healing instead of just a heliocentric view of life? Can you provide true relief instead of just piling on responsibility upon responsibility on those who actually have no responsibility for how you feel. This is motherly, divine motherly energy. And I wanted to make this video long intentionally because I want you to just relax and resonate with the information. And I want to try to be as repetitive as possible. I want to try to be as repetitive as possible to hammer certain universal concepts home, like care, like divine care. Do you care? Do you care? And when we say that, don't limit the definition of care to what someone else says. Do you care meaning you're going to go a million miles? No, we're not saying that. But we're saying, do you empathize? Does your heart extend beyond yourself? Are you imagining and desiring harmony for you and everyone around you with the intent that that ring of harmonic influence extends even beyond that? Ripples in the ocean. Your thoughts are the pebble. You drop that stone in, ripples, ripples, ripples. Now, it's easy to drop a handful of stones of negative ripples, and that's going to ripple, and there's going to be many rippling reverberations, just like it is throughout this quantum, cosmic, mental net, emotional, spiritual net, which is a manifesting net, because with all that cloud of negative etheric condensation, it's going to rain down some things that we will not like. Hasn't it already? Aren't people literally being killed by the sun as we speak? Literally. Whether this is the 6th sun, the 7th sun, whether there's a group of suns up there, it doesn't even matter. Doesn't matter. True invincibility is coming from a source that houses all of that. So learn. This is for all of our star seeds out there. Try to see if you can, and this is a final word, try to see if you can extend beyond the multiverse to the point where it's an omniverse. Look at it, be in it, be all of it, and love it with care. Take care. Peace.